I wanted to ask Manisha, my next question. This is for you, Manisha. I remember Puma, because Padmaja was talking about numbers and ratios. So I remember you mentioning that you already have a fairly high diversity ratio in the organization. And so I wanted to ask you, how has that happened? What has helped? What have been the levers which have contributed to this significant increase, the number that you see here today?
Yeah, I think Suresh, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, this is when we were discussing before the session. So, actually speaking, at Puma, we have about 50% representation of women in the leadership team. And when this whole talk around diversity and inclusion started happening a couple of years back, is when we actually started thinking about how did we manage this piece. And just like Parmesh pointed out, actually we all have been living with inclusion for a long, long time. It's just that now we've started to understand this better. Now we've started to recognize it better. And if we just, sometimes, you don't even have to do much to just let this happen. Having said that, we actually sat down to understand what could have gone right for us to have managed this kind of a thing. A couple of things that come out. I think I would probably like to highlight maybe three things. First is what's the vision of the brand? Okay, so as a brand, what do you stand for when it comes to people? Do you stand for respecting an individuality, letting people be, giving people the freedom to bring themselves to the workplace? And this would mean that it's not just for women, it's for anybody. I mean, it is how you bring your personality to work. And we realized that this is something that we were probably doing pretty well. And it's not just a top down or a bottom up approach. It's something that each and every person in the organization believes in. It is something which is inculcated over the years in everyone, and it has happened probably through a lot of maybe sensitization, maybe trainings, maybe having examples in place. So it just has happened that each and every person in the organization inculcates this belief of, giving that respect and freedom to each and every individual. I think the second thing that probably has happened is that we have believed first in inclusion, and then the diversity has followed. So, which would mean that we created some things right to have that inclusive culture in place. And then automatically it attracted the right kind of people to join us. And that meant, diverse kind of people. So when people say that, okay, this could be a place where I would not be judged because of my gender or my age or my sexual orientation or where I come from, then I'm going to enjoy working here. And when these kind of stories get out and people start talking about it, you attract more and more of those kind of people. And just like how Padmaja mentioned that, there is a critical mass. So when you see a critical mass of leadership becoming women, it just starts percolating down to others as well. That, okay, this must be a good place for me to work, because it is allowing so many women leaders to come up. And then I think the third thing, which is also important, is how are you communicating your brand story to your external ecospace? Because your business partners, your vendors, your customers, people who are coming to your store, are they buying into your story of diversity? So is your employer value proposition, which is around diversity and inclusion, is it talking to your consumer value proposition? Are they in sync? So we also realize that we are communicating that really well as well. So at our stores, for example, we communicate to our customers that these are our values. And if you come to a store and if you interact with our employees, we would appreciate if you can respect this value that we have. So I think when you do a couple of these things, it starts to become a culture for you, and then it starts to sort of show in the numbers as well. So this is what I think has worked well for Puma.